Welcome to the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a show that is a central hub and safe space for authors to share their stories. The Bold Book with Dr. Denise begins now.
Welcome to the Bold Book of the Day. My name is Dr. Denise Nicholson, and this podcast is for anyone looking for inspiration. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Rose Patton, and she is the author of Better Believe It, a powerful 30-day devotional designed to bring hope and encouragement to readers. Welcome, Rose.
Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. I am just amazed by the incredible work that you have done. Writing a book, you go, girl.
Thank you.
So please tell me, what inspired you to write this book?
Yeah, so I think that it's like I'm a believer in Christ, and I think that it was just this inspiration that I was like, okay, I have a story. Like we all have our own stories, and I was like, I can share that with someone else. And I think we all go through different things, but we can use those things and we can help other people. And so I was just like, wait, I have these stories that I can maybe inspire somebody else. I can help somebody else. And that was just a really powerful thought for me. I was at FHL International, and I was talking to Eileen Wilder, and I was like, I really want to write this 100-day devotional. And she was like, okay, I want you to have a devotional done by the time you come to FHL 10. And I was like, oh, but that's like 100 days. I'm not going to be able to do that. And she's like, okay, then don't do that. Do 30. And I was like, okay. And she's like, just do 30. Bring it to me. And I was like, okay. And so I remember I was like, there was points where I didn't want to write the book, where I was like, this is a very, very bad idea. I'm done. I'm over it. This is not happening. I am like, because I was 14 at the time, and I was like, I am not doing this. It's not going to happen. And I like kept going back to the thought that I was like, someone needs to hear what I have to say. And that just hit me every time. And I was like, dang it. Okay, well, I guess someone needs to hear what I have to say. And so I think that was just the inspiration that someone needed, like out there in the world, someone, I don't know the person, I might never meet them, but
Yes.
they needed what I had to say. And so I think that was just really the main part, is I was like, I get to help somebody else, then yeah, of course, sign me up.
So you had the inspiration, but Eileen lit that fire under your
Oh
butt.
yeah, for sure. And it was really cool because I got to bring her my book, and it was just like a really special moment of like, we accomplished it. So it was cool.
Way cool. So your book is centered on hope and faith. So how do you personally stay encouraged when facing life's difficulties, especially you're, a freshman in high school?
Yeah.
I know that is not easy.
No. Yeah, I feel like trust is like my main thing, and just trusting that God has a bigger plan, because it's hard. Like we're all going to go through hard things, but a reminder I remind myself a lot is that you have like survived 100% of your bad days. That is like an over and over thing. You have survived 100% of your bad days, so you can survive the rest of them. And just a reminder I remind myself, I'm like, okay, hey, God was good yesterday. He's going to be good today. Okay, God was good yesterday. He's going to be good today. Okay, keep going. And it's not easy. And I mean, it's not supposed to be easy, but finding faith and finding trust in God, and just knowing that life's going to be okay. Like there's going to be rough patches. Like lately in my life, it's been crazy. There's just been so many things like going on. Like last month I was barely home, and it was just like, oh, there's so many things. I was like, God, what are you doing? A lot of times I think we like question, like, what is happening in my life? But just having faith and being like, okay, this was a really bad day, but you're still good. So it's going to be okay. And yeah, just knowing that it's going to work out. It might not work out the way you planned, but it will work out. And so that's been a big part, is just trusting and having faith in God.
Who are your parents, girl? An incredible, amazing job your parents are doing.
Thank you. Yes, they've been wonderful. I'm super grateful for them.
So I realized when I was looking through your book that each day in your devotional includes a challenge for the reader. Can you share a little bit of example of one of these challenges and why you included it?
Yeah, so I love that. I like when I was going through my book and I was writing it, I was like, I want them to have something to do. Because I love devotionals. Like I love them so much. I love reading through them. And that was another inspiration for me, is I was like, I love this. I get to give someone else this love. But I was like, I want them to have something that they get to do. so that they feel like included and part of it. And so I have my book next to me, but I just added like a few different things. And so there's different, like there's a bunch of different ones, and it all like goes back to what the day was about. And so this is day 2, and it's talking about like sharing God's word. And so it was like share God's word to one new person today. And it's like that might feel uncomfortable, but just do that because you might not have tomorrow. And I think that giving them a challenge, whether they do it or not, that's their own. But they get like a choice, like, oh, it's kind of fun. I get to do something. And they're not all super, like, some of them are like by yourself. Some of them you might like do for somebody else. But that was just a super like cool thing for me to see, as I was like, oh, I get to give them something to do. Like, yeah, that sounds like super fun, because I'm like a person who loves to do like little challenges, little things. And I was like, this is a really fun idea. So I'd love to give that to someone else.
Oh my goodness. Beautiful. You're always thinking about others, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I love people. Love people.
Which Bible verse included in the devotional that is your favorite?
Jeremiah 29:11. And you know that Bible verse? Let me share it with you. It's, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. And that was just has been like with me through my whole journey of like all the things I've gone through in my life. Is I'm like, okay, like you're sitting by yourself at the end of the day and you're like, that was a really bad day. And I just like thinking, like sometimes you get in your head and you're like, oh, this was really bad. I don't like how that went. And I'm like, wait, but you have the, like, you know, the plans you have for me, and they're not bad plans. They're all good.
Mm-hmm.
And so no matter like what roads I might think I took that were wrong, I'm like, wait, you know the plans. And if I trust you with this, then it's all going to be okay. And so that Bible verse has gotten me through a lot. It's been a very special Bible verse to me.
Oh, this is so beautiful. Oh my goodness. Do you have siblings?
I have a brother.
Okay. And is he older than you?
Yeah, he's 17.
Okay. Does he have similar perspectives? Because,
Yeah.
sometimes you have the same parents and you have total different children.
Yeah, he's amazing. I love him. He's very cool because so he's a funnel builder, and that has been such a cool journey for me to see him grow in this like world, because he went to his first FHL at 15, and I was like, whoa, I didn't know like what he was doing, because he and my mom went and me and my dad stayed home. And then the next year he won his certification award, and I got to go for like that day just to see him walk across the stage. And there was just like this feeling. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of him. Like, that's crazy. And he started working with this business partner. So then we went to Mexico. Like, we got to go like to Mexico for the secrets, like the Unlock the Secrets. And I was like, wait, this is really neat. And at that point, I wasn't really in this realm. But after that, then we went to Vegas, and it was just like, he's inspired me to do a lot more like different like things that might not be like seen as cool or like what the kids are doing like our age, but he's like inspired me like that you don't have to be like all the other kids, like you can be different. And just helping other people in that aspect is like, I'm not living my life for me, I'm living my life for God and to show God to others. And so I might do things that like other kids our age don't do, and I might not do things that like kids our age do, but I'm okay with that. And so I feel like having him was like an inspiration and someone to like look up to, and then to go to and be like, listen, I don't know how to put this in my funnel and website. Can you help me? Like, there's just different aspects of like having him be part of like my business and helping me with my business, and him being my brother. So it's really cool.
Way cool that you guys are on this journey of entrepreneurship together, and you're watching him. This is an absolutely amazing space to be at your age, because you guys are like babies, teenagers, and you have the world at your fingertips. And while I was there at Funnel Hacking Live, I remember seeing some young children on the Saturday, where, I saw a few sprinkled around during the week, but I saw more that Saturday. And I was looking around like, this is a really great environment for young people. I saw children like 2 years old, 3 years old, 10 years old. I saw babies there. And I was like, I'm thinking this is for me, but this is great for my grandchildren. So the next one, I'm certainly bringing my grandchildren.
Yes. And we have like a Teen Mastermind. And
you do?
Yes, we do, and it's amazing, and I love it.
You
And so
gotta
we
tell
like
me
all
about
get,
it. I gotta
yes,
tell
we
me
like all
no.
get together
Yeah.
on a call every Saturday, and we've been doing this since June, I think. And
Uh-huh.
so it's so special. I met my best friend on there, and that might sound like kind of like weird, like, oh, I met my best friend online, but it
Not
was
if not nowadays.
right. Yeah, I think if I would like said that years
We
ago, I'd be
live
like,
online.
yes. And so I met her on there, and there was just like I knew there's just like a feeling, and I was like, God, this is who you're calling me to like be friends with. This is like there's a connection,
Mm-hmm.
and so I traveled 10 hours to go see her um, for her like 16th birthday, and it was just like like when God puts that like feeling in your heart, like this is someone that you want me to share my life with. This is someone that you want me to tell others about God with. And like we are like now business partners too. And so she was at FHL. And so it's just like there's something special.
I think
Like,
I remember seeing her.
yeah, we were probably
Yeah.
together. We were like together most of the
Oh, that is so special.
yeah. And then there's just like so many other like relationships and friendships that have like grown on that mastermind. And I think we started off with like we went to FHL with like 30 something and we came back and I think now we have like 60 kids in the group. And so it's super, super excited for our call like tomorrow. It's gonna be super fun. But it's special to be able to
Mm-hmm.
have that environment because a lot of kids don't see the like things the way we see them. And that can be really
Yeah.
hard and discouraging. And we're like, oh well maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I should just wait until I'm older. But I feel like taking what you have now, something I say a lot is that if God placed that dream in your heart today, then He needs you to do it today and not tomorrow. Because if He wanted you to do it tomorrow, He would have put it in your heart tomorrow. And so that's
Woo,
what I talk about.
preach, Rose. Okay.
That's what I talk about a
Mm-hmm.
lot. And so I feel like not taking the age thing is like, well, I'm only like 15 now. I don't know, like I shouldn't do this. It's important to be able to be surrounded by people that inspire you and help you and so it's been a very amazing environment to like grow each other in. And so it's been really cool. I love it.
And to be in that world and be also pushing self-development and business development and also focusing on the word, getting to
Absolutely.
know the spiritual side a little bit better. It's just amazing to see you guys, and I'm honored that I get to see this in
Yeah.
actuality. So I'm proud of you guys. Keep it up, and I believe that you are doing a big service to this world.
It's really scary sometimes, but it's really a blessing. And it's really amazing to have grown ups like see us as not like little kids. Be like, well, you guys probably shouldn't do that. You guys should do that. Like Russell. Russell's been super cool, super like big inspiration for me.
Uh-huh.
Um, because I think he's just like an inspiration for everybody. But and so, like,
Absolutely.
I remember when he asked to be on my podcast, and there was just like this feeling in my like heart. I was like, "What?" He just asked to be on my podcast, and I was like, "Russell, I'm not something big," and he was like, "No, but you will be." And it's so special because like at the end of the podcast I did with Russell, he like looked at me and he was like, "I'm proud of you because you took what some people wouldn't do in like 10 years. They push it, they push it." And he's like, "And you just did it," and that was like a super special moment. And I feel like I really appreciate you guys being super motivating and like kind to us because some people aren't, and it's really appreciated when there are people that are.
You are the future. And I see that. And the people who are kind to you, they see that. They know that. They know that you guys are going to blow this business or this world, the services that you're going to provide, the mentorship that you're going to provide, the change that you're going to make in this world. We see it. We know that the world would be a better place with these people, with you
Yeah.
young people. So we are just, well, for me, I am in awe that I get to be in your presence, that I get to see you guys at this early stage. And then in the future, I'm like, I was one encouraging her. There go Rose.
Yes. I think it's really cool because you get to encourage people and I feel like even like at my age, like I still encourage people that are older than me. That's crazy for me to think about. But I
Yeah.
was talking to someone the other day and they were like, "Well, you're really encouraging me." And I was like, "What? You're a 40-year-old woman. I'm encouraging you?" I'm like, "I look up to you." And I'm like, "What?" And I think that's the cool part is that God put certain people in your life that will like you'll push them, they'll push you, and it doesn't matter the age. It just matters like how you like help them, if that kind of makes sense. You like push each other along. It's such a blessing.
And I remember there's some place in the Bible that said, and the little child shall lead them. So,
Mhm.
God has placed you in the right place where we can get advice from you. And it's okay because we know that you are going to need us and we also need you at this time.
Yes, we all have different stories and they all come together and you can help each other.
Yes.
So super cool.
Yeah. What advice do you have for someone struggling with doubt and discouragement right
Oh,
now?
that's a good question. Um, that's hard because it's just there's so many things. I'm like, I just want to give them a hug and be like, listen, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And there's hard moments in life. There's always gonna be hard moments. But the
Mhm.
issue is that a lot of people see all the things that are going wrong in their life and they're like, oh, this is going wrong, this is going wrong. Okay, well, look at the things that are going right
Yeah.
because when you shift your mindset, you shift your eyes, you won't see all the bad things, you'll see the good things. You're like, wait, it's not all bad. And there's always going to be something you can find to be like mad about or to be discouraged about. There's always going to be something, but there's always going to be something you can be grateful for. And sometimes people, I feel like a lot in like this world, they're like, I don't know what my purpose is. Like, I don't know why, like, I'm still here. Like, what am I even doing in life? And they can get like really sad and down about life. But it's like, hey, God woke you up today for a purpose. And you might not know what that purpose is, but he does. And so just trust him and keep going because there's always gonna be bad days. There's always gonna be things that are gonna stop you. But you have to know that if you have this dream, you have this purpose, you have to have that purpose has to be greater than the fear that you have and the doubt that you have. And it has to like knock each other down. You have to like push down that fear, push down that doubt, like shut out those walls and just see what your goal is, what your future is. And there's gonna be times that you don't believe in yourself, and that's okay. You don't need to believe in yourself because God does. You need to believe in God
Yeah.
and be like, hey, he's got me. I don't need to worry about all of this. And so I mean, I've had hard times in my life. I mean, that's part of life. I mean, I know you have too, but that's you take that and you use it as your fuel and you use that as an inspiration to tell other people. Like when I was writing my book, I was like, I'd had all these hard times and I was like, wait, I can use that and I can inspire somebody else. And so use those stories, use like when you're feeling sad and you're feeling down, be like, hey, wait, how can I use this to make my life better? How can I use this to make somebody else's life better? Because when you look at those things that are happy, and I know people like think happy thoughts, and it's like just think about all the things that are joyful, think about all the things that are happy, and your life might not be perfect. It will never be perfect, and you might be sad right now, but that doesn't mean that you can't be happy later. That doesn't mean you can't be happy now either. You just gotta like shut out all those things that are telling you not to be happy, telling you to be sad. And a lot of times, like just put down your phone and go outside, get some fresh air, like just breathe because it's a like hard time, especially just like life's just hard sometimes. And just take a deep breath and be like, hey, it's all gonna be okay. And there's so much more to life than these like limits we put like on our lives. I feel like that's a lot of times when people go into depression and sadness is like, oh, this is my life, this is all it will ever be. No, that's not all it will ever be. It can be so much more, but you
Yeah.
have to allow yourself to be more. Sorry, I just like rambled and that was a lot. But
No, no, no. I'm taking it all in. And one of the things that you said that was so deep is that, if you can't believe in yourself, then believe in God. Another thing is, if you can't believe in yourself and you don't have a relationship with God, that is the time to start developing that relationship. But also look to someone who reminds you of kindness and grace, because that is
absolutely,
God in them. So
absolutely.
look for someone that has been exhibiting kindness and grace, and also look for someone that believes in you.
Hmm.
So maybe you don't believe in yourself, but look around you to see who has been cheering you on,
Yeah.
who has been encouraging you, who has been telling you you can do this no matter what. Look for those people and just go to them and start talking to them, have a conversation and let them know how you feel. And sometimes they will pick you up faster than you can ever imagine.
Yeah, and I think there's always someone that loves you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people feel like unloved. And I'm like, there's always someone that loves you. And you might not, like, they might never cross your mind. Like, you might never think about them, but they think about you.
Ah.
And that's a special, like, thing to think about is that there's people out there that you don't even remember their names, but they pray
Mhm.
about yours. And
Ooh.
I feel like that's hard sometimes because it's like, oh, nobody loves me, all this stuff. And it's like, are you just telling yourself that, make yourself feel bad? Like, there are people out there that love you. And something I heard the other day, it was, this is kind of like off topic, but kind of goes on topic. And it's that like choose your friends wisely because some friends will use your name and put it into how do they say it? They're like, some friends will say your name in their prayers, and some friends will say their name in their drama. Like say your name in their drama.
Mm.
And so pick your friends wisely. But that kind of goes along with, like, there are people that will say your name and they love you. They're praying about you. I called someone today and I was just like, hey, I just want to let you know, I was like praying about you and I was thinking about you. And she was like, I've been seeing your Instagram and I was thinking about you all week. And I was like, that's crazy, because sometimes we don't think about people like thinking about us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't care. I just care about them. Like, you can't read their mind. You don't know that.
But words are so powerful, and thoughts are so powerful.
Yes.
So aligning yourself with people that have strong beliefs and positive beliefs is important, and aligning yourself with people that will, help you believe in yourself and believe in the good in you, and to bring out more of the good in you is really
Yeah.
important. Yeah. What kind of scripture, or where in your devotional can someone start if they were having a bad time, where they're discouraged, things are not going the way they planned it or they wanted, so now they're feeling anxiety or overwhelm? Where can they start in your journal?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have like a few different places,
Mm-hmm.
but okay, so for day 12, it's like finding God in the struggle. And
Mm-hmm.
I went through an injury. It wasn't a severe injury, it was like a little injury, but it changed the course of my life. And I think that it was a struggle in that time, but I wouldn't trade that for anything. And
Mm.
so it's like finding God. Okay, I was like, that is not what I wanted. And he's like, just wait, just wait. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll wait. And so that kind of goes with the part about learning to be patient, which is day 17. And with that one, it's talking about like, okay, bad days, learn to be patient and wait for the good days. And like that kind of thing of like, God's plan doesn't always make sense. Maybe you're like feeling like you're drowning. Like, what is happening, God? This isn't what I wanted. And he's like, just be patient and trust me. Um, Trusting God is day 19. That's another one. There's a lot of different things in here because I really wanted people to like know that it's gonna be okay. That was really
Yeah.
my thing when I was writing it, is I was like, there's someone out there who doesn't believe that their life's gonna get better. There's someone out there who's really discouraged and who wants to give up. And I'm like, so I'm gonna help them. And when I was writing this book, I really thought about the fact that it was my best friend I was writing to. That was my like that was my thought. When I like talk to people, I talk to them like they're my best friend, because you don't know if they have a best friend. Like, they might be the part in their life where they don't have a best friend. They don't think anybody loves them. So I'm like, I'm gonna talk to them like they're my best friend, of course. And there was just, when I was writing that, I was like, okay, what would I say to my best friend if she was like, I don't feel like anybody loves me? And so I wrote about that. I was like, what would I write to my best friend if she was like, hey, I really like this guy, but he's not a Christian? What would I write about that? And so when I wrote these things, I wrote them as if I was talking to my best friend. And so a lot of them are about finding hope and about trusting God, because that's what I would say if I was talking to my best friend.
That is so encouraging. Do you journal, and do you write down or your reflections of the day? And yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big journaler. That's also something I'm working on for this next. Like, this year, I have a bunch of like a few different books coming out, so look forward to those. But I am working on a journal because journaling really matters to me, because sometimes we can't say all the things we want to say, and my journal sometimes looks ridiculous. It's like words like all over the place. I'm like, I don't know how to put this together, and God's like, hey, I already know what you're thinking, but sometimes it takes like journaling out those things that you get to think through it, because sometimes we have like all these things stuck in our brains, and when we like write it out and we reread it, we're like, wait, okay, maybe I'm overthinking this situation, maybe I'm not seeing this correctly. And then I love journaling my prayers. Like, that's like, I love looking back
Me
at it.
too. Me too. I
Yes,
have, oh my God. So I have a journal just for my
yes,
prayers.
me too, because I
Yes.
look back
I
at it and
love
I'm like,
journaling my prayers.
yes, it's like my favorite thing, because I look back at it and I'm like, wait, you answered that. And it's like such a special moment, because I'm like, God, you answered that. You can answer the rest of them. Like, that didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen, but that's okay, because look at where I've ended up. And so, yeah, I think that
Yeah.
journaling is super special.
Yeah, I enjoy journaling my prayers because sometimes you need to be reminded of how far you've come.
Mm,
And
absolutely.
it's such a joy to look back. And I've been journaling my prayers for a long time. So I can look back on an old journal like 20 years ago and I'm like, wow, look where I am now.
That's so
And look,
special.
yeah, look where God, brought me from. And so, and it could be like a mental space where I was and where I am now when I was overwhelmed and anxious and didn't think that things could get any better, and then here I am. So it's really great. I'm so glad you brought that up because I've never spoken about that. It's just
Really?
something I do because most people I know, they pray out loud, or they pray
Yeah.
in quiet and in secret. But I really love writing down my prayers, and it's because I like to write, and I feel like when I write my thoughts, I make them more clear than when I speak them.
Yeah, that's how I am. Being like the writer mindset. It's like I'm like I can write better than I can speak sometimes. That's hard
Oh,
to do a podcast. And so I'm like trying to speak and I'm like sometimes the words are not coming out like it would if I wrote it down. But yeah.
wow.
But
Now,
can
when
I go back to something real quick? Can I just say something?
that's
So with like when you're talking about prayers, is I have like two different ways like I pray. So, like when I
uh-huh.
write my prayers, and then sometimes like I just talk to Jesus. I'm like, okay, so this is how my day was. Like it's such a funny if someone like came into my room at night and I didn't know they were in there and they were like listening to me. I'm like, okay, so this happened today, and I was like, and you're never gonna believe. This person called me and I was like, I had a good talk with them about Jesus, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and this happened, and I'm like, this is so funny because I think there's that relationship instead of religion, and it's so important to me because I'm like I can talk to him like he's my best friend, but some people are out there doing different things, and I'm not judging them, but
No.
there's things, and I'm like, do you know God or do you just know of God? And that's been a really big part of my journey is truly knowing Christ and not
Yes.
just being like, because actions speak louder than words sometimes. And you can go to church and you can highlight your Bible while you're sitting there, maybe take some notes, but then you just throw that paper away later. And if you go to church only on Sunday, like go to church on Sunday and that's the only time you talk to God. Maybe when you're praying, you're actually just like texting on your phone, like, hey, what are we going to get for lunch after this? Because I know sometimes
Mm,
that. But there's a difference between having that religion and that
mm.
aspect. Like I did that, I checked that off my list, and truly sitting with God and being like, okay, here's what I'm looking at in my life, like what's going on. And I think that the relationship I have with Christ is that sometimes I do question things. I'm like, okay, this doesn't make sense. What's happening? And I'm like, wait, I know you have a plan. I'm like, you don't have to show me the whole picture. I don't want to see the whole picture. But I trust you. And I think that's super special is having a good relationship because that will always win over any religion that you could ever have. A relationship. God wants a relationship with you. I mean, Jesus died on the cross for you. He didn't want you to just sit there on church and be like, I did it. He wants you to sit down and be like, oh my gosh. Like religion is perfect. I mean religion tries to make you perfect and relationship is not perfect. There's nights that I just like sit on my floor and I'm like crying. I'm like, Jesus, what? And then I show up at church with a pretty dress on and stand there and like look nice and pretty. And I'm like, this isn't what God is like always asking you to do.
No.
He doesn't want you to show up perfect. He doesn't need you to show up pretty and beautiful and perfect because he sees you as those things. And just the way he created you is you don't need to try to make everybody else believe this like idea. You just need to sit there with Jesus and be like, hey, spend a little bit. Like, I want to talk to you.
Tell me about a time when you were so discouraged and you needed to go to God. Tell me about that story and how God brought you through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to go back to my injury because so I was a swimmer,
Hmm.
and um, this is a crazy story because there's so many ups and downs of this because I was a swimmer, and that was my life. That was where I was. You could like anybody who thought about me thought, oh yes, she's a swimmer. They were like, oh, where's Rose? Oh, she's at swim practice. Oh, it was like
It's
morning
part of your
practice.
identity.
It was who I was, and that was the
Mhm.
issue. It was my identity. It was who I was.
Yeah.
And when people thought about me, they thought I was a swimmer. They didn't think of me as a daughter of Christ. And that really, I didn't see it as a problem. I was like, no, I had a good relationship with God, and I look back, I made videos, and I was like talking to myself because I was so mad. I was like, this is not working. Like, this is not what I wanted. And it was because what happened was I was playing basketball. I'm a swimmer. I don't play basketball. And I fell, and my tendon in my ankle tore. And it was purple and really big, and I was like, it's fine. And I went and got x-rays, and they were like, it's not broken. And I was like, oh, that means I'm good. And I put this fake personality, I put this fake attitude on, and it really, really hurt. And I pretended that I didn't feel any pain. I was like, no, it's just bruised. I don't feel any pain. And I pretended that there was nothing wrong, and it looked really bad. It was purple, it was bad, it was not good. But I was like, I don't feel pain. I think I'm fine. I was like, it's just bruising. It's okay. It'll go away in a few days. So I went back to practice, and it just kept getting worse. But I was like, I'm not going to tell anybody about this. It's fine. And then I had a swim meet, and I swam the mile. The mile's a 20-minute race. And when I dove off the blocks, I was in the water, and I did my first flip turn, and I flip, and I pushed off the wall. And it's the first 30 seconds of this race. And yeah, I just feel like tear. And I was like, no, bad. And I didn't stop. And so that whole 20 minutes, it was just tearing. And I don't know how I made it through this now, because I'm like, what is she doing? But I just kept putting that, I just kept going. And so long story short, we got an MRI, and they were like, yeah, so when you were doing your stuff, you tore it, and you're gonna have to be in a boot for a month. And a month might not seem like a long time. Now I'm like, what? That was crazy how that month changed my whole life. And I was just in the sad part, as I was like, God, what is this? This was not what I expected. And I was so I was very mad. I think I went through a lot of different stages in that, and I was just like, God, this isn't what I asked you for. I want to go back to swim. Just bring me back there. That was where I was happy. That is where I felt peace, all of this stuff. And he was like, you need to feel that in me. And that hurt, because I was like, what? And he's like, you are so focused on this you're idolizing it. And I was like, what? And I saw this video, because I was scrolling like one does sometimes, and I was just so sad, and I was just scrolling my phone, and a video came up, and it was like, are you going to be okay if God takes it away? And I put the phone down, and I just started praying, and I was like, I'm so sorry, because I'm not okay. I'm not okay that you took that away. I am not okay that I'm not there anymore. I was like, I am so sorry that I focused on that and didn't, I gave you time. I read my Bible I read it in the morning and evening, and I was religious. I wasn't in a relationship with him. And I was like, I'm so sorry that I put this fake smile on and made everybody think that everything was perfect, when I really wanted to swim. That's all I wanted to do. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And it's been a journey, because I healed, I went back, and I never truly loved it the way I did before. And that hurt, because I was like, no, I love this. And God was like, okay, but I think it's time to be done. And I was like, no, it's not time. And I was like, no, it's no, God, stop. And he was like, Rose, be done. And I was praying one night, and I was like, I don't think I should quit swim. I think this is where I need to be, for the rest of my life. It's my happy place. I love it. And a song came on. It's called Walk Away by Christian Paul. And it said, I don't remember the words exactly, but it was sometimes when you walk by faith, you need to know when to walk away. And I just started crying, and I was like, no, this can't be real. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And I knew I had made a decision that I was going to take a break. And I went to a swim meet, and I didn't feel love for it anymore. I didn't feel sad. There was no pain. Because I was like, you gave me full peace over this. Because I swam this swim meet. I did really bad. I did really bad. But I wasn't mad. And I was like, I'm okay with this. I'm at peace with this. And it was a hard moment. And I still look back at it, and I'm like, I miss it. I feel like you miss things sometimes, but that's okay. It doesn't mean that you made the wrong decision. And I'm like, okay, wait. If I didn't quit swim and I didn't stop doing swim, I never would have wrote the book. And to go into that, I started my podcast while I was injured, because I felt like God needed me to do something. And I was like, God, what do you want me to do? And I felt like he was calling me to start a podcast. And now I have a podcast, and I have a book. And I'm like, wait, if I never would have went through that, and I never would have made like these decisions, then I wouldn't be where I'm at in my life. And so to go back to your question, whenever you're feeling discouraged and you're having a hard time, just know that there is a bigger plan. Like God has a bigger plan. And you might be feeling discouraged, you might be feeling hurt at that moment, but it's going to be okay because He has a bigger plan. And I didn't see it. I still haven't seen the whole thing. I'm so excited for the moment I do get to see the whole thing. But it's just focus on trusting instead of focusing on figuring it all out, because you're not going to be able to figure it all out. And Jeremiah 29:11 reminds us that He does have a plan. He does have a greater plan. And there was a Bible verse, Hebrews, I think 3:6 or 6:3, and it was like, and all these things will be done if it's God's will, or something like that. And it was like, I felt like that pain of like, well, God, you did this to me. And it was just like, there was so much anger. I was like, why would you do this to me? And I think that's a part that a lot of us get in, is we're like, God did this to me. And I was like, no, God did that for me. He didn't do that to me. He did it for me.
Ooh.
That hit me hard because I was hurt and I was like, this is not okay. And He was like, hey, take a step back and like look what I'm doing. And I don't know what He protected me from if I wouldn't have gotten injured, who I would have become, that person. Like there were some crazy things that, and there's like little details that go into it. Like if I would have, at that one swim meet that I like hurt myself at, if I would have gotten a certain time, I would have gone to a different meet and never went to Mexico. And so I never would have made it to Vegas. I never would have met Russell Brunson. I never would have wrote my book. I never would have done all these things. And I'm like, it wasn't my plan, God, it was yours.
Yes.
And just trusting that. So I'm sorry that was a long explanation, but
Oh my God, you're such a great person to interview because you are prolific with words. So thank you for, sharing,
yeah,
and thank
absolutely.
you for giving us a message
Oh,
of
for sure.
encouragement and to have a relationship with Christ and to just trust Him.
Mm.
If readers take anything away from your book, what is the core message that your book, Better Believe It, has to offer?
Yeah, I just want them to believe that it's like so hard for me to say, but it's like even though you're having a hard time right now, just to trust God. Like that's just, I want them to trust God. And with all of the stories that I have in there, and I can't wait to write a second book and like have all these new stories that I have since I've written that, but is that to know that God is good even when your life isn't. And knowing that it's all gonna be okay. Just take a deep breath, like just trust God, it's gonna be okay. And there's so many things that like each reader, I wish I could just give them a big hug and be like, hey, it's all, I just want to pray with you, I just want to talk to you. And I'm really grateful for social media in that aspect. In there, in my book, I do have a part where they can get to my Instagram because I want to talk to people and I want to be there for them. Like I said, when I wrote the book, I felt like I was writing it to my best friend. And so I want to be that best friend for somebody. And so, yeah, I feel like I just want them to take away that. It's like I feel like the name Better Believe It kind of just came to me one time. I was just like thinking about, what am I going to name it? And I was like, Better Believe It. You better believe that God is better. You better believe that God is with you. You better believe that God is greater than all the things you're going through. And that's just like, you better believe it. And so that was just a big thing for me, is just believing and trusting.
Thank you so much for coming here and sharing and just giving our audience an insight of how they can too trust in God, just have some hope and some inspiration and a relationship with God. Wow, 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 wow. What an incredible conversation today.
Yes, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I just hope that everyone that is hearing this are inspired and encouraged and just encouraged to dive deeper into their faith.
Yeah.
Whatever you believe, take the time to have that relationship, take on that daily challenge, and remind yourself that God is good even when life gets tough.
Mm, yes.
So, if you're ready to strengthen your walk and embrace hope, you need to get this book. Get your copy
Mm,
of Better Believe It so that you can, also support this baby. She's 15 years old, and this is an incredible accomplishment to write a book. So many people have hopes and dreams of writing a book, and they have never completed that book. They just find excuses. They don't realize that they are self-sabotaging. They just find excuses. And instead of publishing their book, they go around and around and around and just find ways to hinder themselves from really walking into this great space.
yes.
So kudos to you, girl, for
Thank
being
you.
an example.
Appreciate
Okay.
it. Thank you.
Thank you. So, where can people find your book, Rose?
Yeah. So it's on Amazon right now is like the main place.
Mhm.
I'm working. It'll take a few weeks to get out there, but it's going to be on different places. So it should be like in the Barnes and Noble website soon-ish. Working with my team on getting it in different places, but
Yeah.
Amazon's the main place right now. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to get it on other places so that we can get it out there. And it's not about me. Like I know like I wrote it and I'm like, yeah, I wrote it. But I'm like, I want to help other people. And
Yeah.
so that's just super special to me. I think something I just want to add to this is that like I talk about faith a lot. And there's a lot of people that don't believe the same things as me. And that's absolutely okay. Like I respect them for that, love them. But like I'm not gonna tell you what to believe and I'm not gonna make you believe what I believe. Never, ever, ever. But I'm gonna tell you why I believe what I believe and then you can make the choice that you want to make. That's your choice, not mine. But I like telling people like this is why I believe this, and this is why I know that God is good, and they can take that choice whether they believe in God or whether they don't. That's not my business. That's theirs. But I'm going to tell them why, and then
Yeah.
I'm going to inspire them and help them along on that journey. And so that's just another part about the book is that it's just my point of view. And for all the people that don't agree with it, that's okay. You don't have to. I
That's
still
right.
love you. Like that's just like it's okay. But this is just my point of view, and I think yeah,
I would love for you to have your own website because you know the
yeah.
Amazon takes about 67%
Mhm.
of each sale. So it would be great for you to have some author copy at home. And
Yeah.
then when people purchase the book, you fulfill the orders. So you get to keep 100% of your profit. So,
Yes. We're working
yes,
on
please work on that.
my brother is like the funnel builder. He's like building me a website. So we're
Excellent.
all of
All
those
right.
things. Yeah.
There are three questions that I love to ask each of my guests, and I am so ready to ask you because I just know that you're going to blow my mind.
Yeah. This is fun.
Number one is what's one bold promise that you can share with the audience?
Yeah, mine's just a simple quote, and it's that God is good even when life is not. And I think
Mm,
that it just hits hard. It's like, oh wait, God's still good. My day was bad, God's still good. And I remind myself a lot. I have like sticky notes all over my room where I'm like, it's a bad day, not a bad life. And that's just hard. It's like it's a bad day, not a
just a
bad life.
bad day, not a bad life.
Right. Yeah. Just because
That's
today is bad doesn't mean tomorrow can't be good.
that's a good statement. All right. So what's one bold statement that you can share with the audience that will cause a paradigm shift?
Yes. So I have like a quote part again. And it's God's not asking you to figure it out. He's asking that you trust that he already has. And that was such a moment for me, like when I was writing my book, because I was like, I don't know how to do this. And he was like, whoa, just write it. I'm not asking you to figure it out. I'm asking you to trust that I have it figured out. And I was like, okay, we're good.
Yes. I love that. What's a bold move that you're going to make in the future or you'd like
Yeah.
to make in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am starting a coaching program and I'm teaching others how to go after the callings that God has put in their heart. And so I just want to teach other people like, okay, hey, this is what God called me to do. And I felt inspired, like Eileen inspired me. And so I want to inspire others. And so that's what I'm working on and helping teach other people to also to go after their dreams and to not wait, but to do it today. Yeah.
Incredible. Oh my goodness. I'm so proud of you
Thank you.
because you know you could just be doing your sports. You could just be enthralled in your world and you could just be engaged with your friends. Instead, you're on a mission to change the world and heal the world and help people just get that relationship with God that will make all the difference for them.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Rose, for being
Absolutely.
here and for sharing your heart and for just sharing so much hope and so much inspiration. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Of
Thank you. Thank
course.
you. And I know the listeners are blessed for hearing you in the first place. Okay.
Appreciate that.
So, listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe, like, and review. But please buy a copy of Better Believe It. Not because Rose needs you, but because you need this message right here. There is a message in there for you and for someone you know. So I implore you to support and buy two books, not just one for yourself, but give a gift of hope to someone else. Until next time, please, if you would like to write your book and publish it, go to boldpublishings.com, or you can send me an email and let me know what is the message that you would like to share with the world. Send the email to author dnicholson@gmail.com. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Rose. You've been amazing. And please just say one last word to the audience.
I love you all, and I thank you all for listening to me for this long to blabber on. And just know that it's all going to be okay, and there's always hope. And if you want to contact me on social media, my Instagram, it's in my book. It's Blessed Bonds. It's Blessed_Bonds1. Just look up Rose Patton and contact me because I love you all so much, and I appreciate you guys so much.
Spell your Instagram handle again.
It's Blessed, so BLESSD.
Blessed Bonds.
Yeah, Bonds, and then I think it's Blessed_Bonds1. But if you look up Rose Patton too, it'll come up.
Guys, give her a follow. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a central hub and a safe space for authors to share their stories. Follow Dr. Denise on Facebook and Instagram at Denise Nicholson, or go to denisenicholson.com. Remember, no one can share your story better than you.